Hello, my name is Doug Marshall, and this is a demonstration for my company sPlan5 and the BizEquity software program about getting information into the system. So it's meant to be helpful for those individuals who would be using the BizEquity system for either themselves or the benefit of their clients. So this presentation is appropriate whether you're a CPA attorney, an advisor, or an actual business owner. I'm just going to walk through the process, answer any questions that have typically come up during the input of the information, and then point out some different things that you ought to be aware of as you go through this process. This recording will be posted on this website, BizEquity Insights, which is my website about the BizEquity program. And that will, after this presentation is done, I will then repost it onto this website. So without any further delay, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the sPlan5 BizEquity website. So my website is sPlan5Biz. And this is the landing page. So it's a very quick process if you have the information available, and I'm going to walk you through this process very quickly. So this is the first of 7 steps. I'm going to put in the name of the business, the zip code, and the industry. And I don't really care what the industry is, so we're just going to say that it's medical and diagnostic laboratories. You will see that you don't need to know your industry code number. You can type in a description of your company and that will come up. That's important because that does factor into the value of the business based on other businesses that are like yours that could be sold in your geographical location. The second step is just some basic business data. A couple of things that I want you to see here and take note of. One is in the lower right hand corner. If you do need to stop the process because you got interrupted, you can always save for later. Or if you would rather have someone else on your behalf fill out this information, you could delegate that responsibility to them. So you could delegate it back to your CPA, you could delegate it back to another advisor or somebody internally that could put in the information. It doesn't take much more than 30 minutes, if at all 30 minutes, to get the information in. So I rarely have somebody do this delegation. Also, in this box here, there are going to be some did you know type of tips about information about different types of company structures. This will be of interest if you want to take note of that. So I'm going to very quickly put in my information, show you a couple of things on this page, and then try to move as rapidly through the next 5 steps as possible. So here's my information as I put it in. And now I want to bring your attention to a couple of important things. The business structure is important because knowing your business structure is also going to let the program know how to tell you where to get the information for the subsequent steps. So we're going to choose C Corp in this situation. Notice that automatically brings up Form 1120. Those are the tax forms that you are going to need to be able to fill out and complete this information. I'll just say that it's a 2000 inception year. I have 10 employees. And the reason for my wanting to know evaluation here is that I need some loan or equity financing. You can check multiple boxes, by the way. So we could also do retirement, succession, or estate planning. So that's the basic information that goes in. Let me quickly take you to the next step, which is income. A few things I want to point out to you. Over here, when we start putting in information, there are 2 pieces of help that you can get. One is the question mark that you see here is going to tell you what this is talking about. So in this case, revenue is the amount of money your business receives for selling a good or service. If you don't know where to get that number to put into that first box, you can highlight that, and it will tell you that on Forms 1120, you will find this in section Income on line 1A. So it's very simple. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to control how the information gets in there. I'm going to do some very simple inputs, point out a couple of things, run through the rest of this. You'll see how easy it is to get to the end. So I'm just simply going to put in $1 million of revenue, and then I'm going to put in pre-tax income of $200,000. And something is going to start to happen the moment I press enter, which is right now. Notice in the upper right hand corner, the estimated business value is now being shown to you online. If I were to change this pre-tax income to $500,000, predictably the pre-tax income, that's going to increase the value of the company. So let me take that back down to $200,000 so you can see that again. And you can see how that impacts the value of the company. Now, it's important that you fill out all 3 years, because we're also going to look at key performance indicators, which relies on financial ratios, which is a comparison of 1 year to the next, and you're also going to get some important data feedback on that. We can talk about that later, and that will probably be produced in another video. The other fields, fill them out as well. Once again, you have the help screens to tell you what this is. This will walk you through the process of how to get to this number. Rather than taking the time online now to fill all of this information, I'm going to jump through the steps to give you the overall feel for how this works. Keep in mind that we've got that value continuing to scroll as we put in more information. So as I go over into our assets, you can see that there's a place for cash. We'll say I have $100,000 of cash. I have $25,000 of cash receivable. And you can see that the number starts to change a little bit there. I have inventory of $100,000. I'm going to stop there because you get the gist of everything. You can see that the value goes up. We're going to flip over now by hitting next step by going to liabilities. I'm going to say that we have the accounts payable of $100,000. I have a short-term liability of $25,000. I'm getting this off of the information from my tax forms or other places from my accountant. So we can go through bank loans, long-term liabilities, contingent liabilities. All of this information is very important. The more information that you put into the system, the more accurate your valuation will be. The next two steps are rather quick. We can do a projected growth. There are 3 sliders and another question. So we have a question of projected growth. We'll say 20%. That's going to impact the value of the company just slightly. Long-term EBITDA, we'll put it 15%. Let's take a look at what happens if we take the projected growth up to 42%. Is that going to dramatically change anything? Not at this moment in time. So we'll just take it back down to 19%. All of this calculation is being done in the background. Percentage of the business that's reoccurring, we're going to take that up to 50% and see if that has an impact on the valuation. Yes, it does. It kicks it up as expected. And do we have intellectual property, including trade secrets? I'm just going to say no so we can move along here. Nothing really fancy on this particular page. You're starting to see how fast it is. We go to the next step, which is the operations. I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, once you get to this step and you get completed everything and you hit save and continue, you are no longer going to see that number. So that's one thing that I would like them to change about the program so that that number is saved. Up to this point, you have a basic valuation number. This may be all that you want to see, but in order to get the 29-page report, that's where money is involved. That's something we can talk about at a later date. So here I'm going to answer the last few questions. The first question being what percentage of your sales comes from your top 3 customers. I'm simply going to say 25%. I'm going to look at the following question, which looks at the impact of a business owner leaving. We'll say that the business or the revenues would be impacted by declining moderately. I will say that we have key person insurance, and then there is the question of do you rent or own your own property, because that is a factor in the valuation of the company. In this case, I'm simply going to say rent, that rent is paid to a third party, and that my monthly rent is $2,500. That really doesn't matter. My square footage is 10,000, and then I am at the end. So remember, here's your valuation number, and here I can hit save and continue. Once I hit save and continue, I will be out of the program. So that's as easy as it is. When I hit the save and continue button, here's what you can expect to see. Thank you for using the Business Valuation Advisor. What happens at this point is this input is sent to my office. What we will do at sPlan5 is we will review this for you. That's the notification that this valuation has been completed. And then I might come back to you and say, before you run the report, I saw a couple of numbers that I have some questions about. Maybe we should modify those things because they don't look quite right. We'll get that all right, run a report for you. The cost is $350 for the 29-page report, which can be updated on a regular basis over the course of the next 12 months for no additional cost. So that's the process. It's very easy to get the valuation. It's extremely accurate, and it's something that really should take no longer than 30 minutes. Generally, I don't tell everybody that it's only going to take them 30 minutes because there are distractions. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can contact me, Doug Marshall, 206-605-4695, and my other contact information will also be on the website. Have a great day.